Hello my fellow readers. In this video I'm doing my year in review. This will be my look back at all of 2021. If you caught my quarterly review, you may have seen on there that I finished a total of 672 books in 2021, which is astounding. I don't know how I did it. I don't really want to do it ever again. I enjoyed everything, or mostly everything that I read in 2021, but it was a lot. Yeah, I did manage to complete 3 reading challenges during the year. So you may remember from previous video, or you can go back and watch it, but I did 3 challenges: the Read More reading challenge from my local library, Book Riot's Read Harder challenge, and then the Novelist reading challenge. And I did both the, I think it was beginners. There's the beginners and aficionados section for the Novelist challenge. Again, I have talked about it before, so not going to get too into that, but that's a lot. It's a lot for 1 year. But it was also a great time. So I will first talk about, well, I'm just really going to list these because there's too much to get into these books. Plus, I probably did a review on a good portion of them, so you could just go back and look for the reviews. So I'm going to list the ones that I really enjoyed, both the manga and the novel form books. I'm also going to mention just quickly a light novel that I enjoyed. And then after that, I'll take you on a tour of my year in review from Goodreads. They always send an email out that's like, take a look back at your reading progress through the year. So we'll do that once I'm done listing. So here we go. So my top manga for this year, they definitely have to mention Omanes in Your Savage Season. I love that series so much. It was so good, and I flew through it. That would probably be my top series overall for the year. It was so good. Next, Witch Hat Atelier, continued reading this year. It continued, right? I think I started in 2020. But I love that series. It's such a good series. Great for fantasy lovers. Cheese Sweet Home, that one took me by surprise. I was not expecting to absolutely love and devour a manga series that's just about a kitten. But it was so cute and heartwarming. I love it. Pandora Hearts. So again, most of these I have talked about and reviewed, so you can go see the reviews. But Pandora Hearts I really liked. My Love Mix-Up, really cute BL with a great start. I actually have to finish it. Volume 2 I think is out or being released. I have it on order, but it hasn't come to me yet. Really love that one. Night of the Ice, again, which I reviewed. Unexpected shoujo that I just fell in love with. It's so cute. And Magus of the Library, which again I've also talked about before. Enjoyed all of those manga and would highly recommend them to anyone if they in any way sound like they would interest you. Top books for the year. Oh my goodness, this is a longer list and it was hard to decide, but just gonna list them. We Are Not Free, excellent. Confessions, which I did do a review on. The Only Good Indians, oh, so good. That's a good one. A good vengeance kind of plotline, and it's really dark and good. Planet Earth is Blue. Local Woman Missing, which actually got me just in a kind of reading binge with Mary Kubica. But I think I loved Local Woman Missing, which was her latest work, the most out of all of these. But if you love thrillers, you might want to try Mary Kubica. Kate in Waiting, which I reviewed. The Anthropocene Reviewed, which I reviewed. The Blackthorn and Grimm series. I love that series. That was so good. The Mistborn series, I had read the first one a while ago, but I finally went through the other books in that series, and it's so good. The next book, I think, is due out this year. I think. Dreams Lie Beneath, which I did review. I had the arc of that, and now I own 2 copies of the physical book. The Murderbot series. That's good, y'all. If you want some nice, like, quick, accessible science fiction, the Murderbot series is so good. Winter's Orbit, which is BL science fiction novel, and it's so good. I don't know, I found myself just like drawn into it because I loved the relationship of the characters. I don't think I ever got to talk about it, or maybe I did briefly in one of my other recaps, but there are two kind of royal families, and the one is forced to marry the other. Well, they're forced to marry each other. But the one was actually the spouse already of the new spouse's brother. So there are all these feelings that from the brother that he's, is my new spouse being forced to marry me? Do they not even want to get to know me because they're still in love with my brother? There's just all these conflicts that add and build all this tension, and like they're actually attracted to each other, but they just don't talk to one another. It was good. It's not like science fiction-y where you're going to hear too much about, either tech or the space. It's more political drama based, and it just so happens to be set in space. But yeah, it's good. I loved seeing their relationship and being like, y'all just need to talk and be honest with one another. Anyway, I would recommend that. I thought it was a very good read that was semi-overlooked by a lot, but it was really good. Another one I have briefly talked about and will be doing a review on, actually the next two, Among the Beasts and Briars and These Hollow Vows, both of which I will have review videos. So if you want to know more about them and why I like them, you can check out the reviews. And finally, my light novel choice would be Book Girl Volume 1, which, did I do a review on or just talk about it? I remember talking about it, but I don't remember if I had a full review. I read a couple of light novels this year, and that one I just remember enjoying because I like the mystery aspect and also questioning what the deal was with the character. Like, is she really like a goblin kind of creature eating the books, and why, like, not why does she exist? Like, I'm fine with it being kind of fantasy, but almost questioning why that would be included in the book. Like, does it hold value to the series? I have to read the rest of the series, but I very much enjoyed that, and so I will be reading more of that series, hopefully this year. And that's it. So now I'll just show you what my Goodreads year in review tour thing looked like. Hope you enjoy it. So I am at Goodreads right now, and here is 2021, my year in books. So this gives a nice summary of what your year in reading looks like. So you can see that I've read almost 200,000 pages, and there is my 672 books read, which I don't know. This shows my shortest book, which was just a short story, The Prince and the Troll, which I think I read like right at the beginning of the year. And then my longest book, which really, like, it's strange how they count the webtoons. But this is really the webtoon version of Lore Olympus Season 1, which is listed at 1,150 pages. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know how they got that page length. So I don't know. I'm kind of like not so much looking at those statistics. The average book length for 2021 was 290 pages, which sounds about right with all the manga that I read. If you split that with the more longer novels, it evens out. So the most popular book I read, which I talked about that I didn't really love this one, was The Kite Runner. It was the book I read for my challenge that like everybody had read but not me, and so it makes sense that that's the most popular book. The least popular, sadly enough, is O Maidens in Your Savage Season. So be sure, if you have not read that series yet, that you go and pick it up, because that should be one of the most popular. I know, I don't think manga makes it to like the most popular anyway, but I don't know, but then you look down here, highest rated on Goodreads, Blue Period. My average rating for 2021 was 4.2 stars. That's probably accurate. I didn't read too many like low star books this year, which is amazing. I mean, maybe I'm more forgiving, so I don't know. My average rating is usually 4 stars. I dole out some 5 stars, but more rarely. And manga usually deserves 5 stars more than traditional prose novels. But what's interesting about that is I will, if the volume is a poor showing in the series, I will rate it lower. But I'm enjoying Blue Period, so yes, that makes sense. My first review of the year was for The Faithless Hawk, which was the second book in Margaret Owen's series, The Merciful Crow. There was so much that happened toward the end. I enjoyed this book, and I don't have much else to say. I don't remember if there was more there, but I'm not going to click the more. And then it just breaks down a look at the books that you've read from January to December. So there you go. And a lot of times it will highlight your 5-star reads. So this here, I love this TJ Klune fantasy series. It just blended humor with the magic, and it was fun. It was a fun read that did have a lot of serious parts. I don't know how much I want to highlight in there. Lore Olympus, I loved that. We Are Not Free, another 5-star read. That is such a great book. Highly recommend it to anyone. Confessions, another one of my 5-star reads. I still love that book, and it's such a quick read, but what it delves into is so intense. Oh, Byako Senki. Hopefully one day we'll get more of Byako Senki. I'm really hoping one day you picks it back up. Because I love the Fushigi Yugi series. It's just great. There's a lot of good reads here, and I can't stop and talk about them all. Obviously, my Return of the Thief. So glad to finish this year, and it did deserve 5 stars because it wrapped up the whole series very well. Eat a Peach, the memoir by David Chang. I really loved that. 5 stars. And The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I did talk about, would recommend anyone of all ages to read. It's so good. Given, you're going to see Given on here with 5 stars because I love that series. So many good books. Classic Sherlock Holmes here, The Hound of the Baskervilles. I did start reading the classic Sherlock Holmes tales. Hound of the Baskervilles is one of the longer stories. It's just good classic work. I'm going to make sure we can see more books. Junji Ito, No Longer Human, which is the manga adaptation of Osamu Dazai's No Longer Human. And very good. Love Me, Love Me Not. Of course, I was loving that series. I was a little bit sad because I was expecting the one after this. I think it was the one after that to have like more. I guess just more in general than what happened. I'm fine with where it's going, but I was a little bit surprised. I finally got to read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and it was so good. I'm looking forward to getting into the second book, but they're so long that it's a little bit intimidating. I do have the audiobook version of it on Audible. I will be listening to it, but you definitely got to devote time to it. But yeah, I would highly recommend that one to fantasy readers if you haven't already read it. The Girl from the Other Side, obviously I talked about that one. It's a great series. This little one, I just want to mention, Bedazzled, was so stinking cute, and it was a very quick read. I don't know whether or not you'll be able to hear the ridiculously loud vehicles outside, but for some reason, people are loud over here. Spoiler alert, it was very cute romance. That's great if you like geeky things. Yeah. Twittering Birds Never Fly is a yaoi BL series that is very dark and intense, but also just excellently written and drawn. This is my beloved Koi Monogatari. I think that was book 2. I don't remember if they didn't have the English cover at the time. I don't know. I also got to finish the current publications of I Hear the Sunspot. I did actually read this before, so some of these are a reread. But, you know, rereads count. There is, I don't remember what it's called. There is a new one coming. So Limit finished, and there's going to be a new release. But I can't remember what it's called. So just look for it. Be on the lookout. It's coming. Daytime Shooting Star. This is during the period where I love the series, and then I didn't so much love the end. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I didn't love the end of the series. I still have to reread the end. The Sufficiently Advanced Magic, which I did talk about. In the Dream House, that was super good. You can see here some of the nonfiction that I read this year, in part because it was on the reading challenge, and in part some of them I was just drawn to. I wanted to check it out and see what it was like. There's my beloved Cheese Sweet Home. That was such a good story. I loved it so much. Little Fires Everywhere. I haven't seen the show version of this, but I liked the book. And Sasaki and Miyano, which I've also talked about. I'm so glad that's being released here, and I really want the companion series to be published. Something Deeply Hidden I never had to talk about, but this is a book on physics, essentially. As you can see, it's quantum worlds and the emergence of space-time. This is very accessible physics, and I loved it. Hence I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was so easy to understand. This was one I'm pretty sure I just read to read. I don't think it filled a challenge portion. I read good things about it, and I gave it a try, and it's super good. Yes, moving right along. Local Woman Missing, which I've pulled out as one of my favorites of the year. You Will Get Through This Night, which I did do a review on, but I didn't mention in my favorites. I do think this is an excellent mental health guide for anyone. There's a lot of tips in there that if you're having a difficult time or struggling, you can go to this book and it'll help you work through things. And of course, if the simple steps in the book for your own self-assessment don't work, you should seek outside help. This one here I never talked about either. This Written in the Stars is actually a very cute kind of Pride and Prejudice retelling. I was surprised. I thought that one was really cute. And Early Departures I like too. This one is really sad, but super good. You'll see some other series that I've reviewed in here. Sweet Hand is a really good romance. I'd recommend that one if you're into romance books. I did talk about the Blackthorn and Grimm series, so we can see them right here. So good. And poor Uncomfortable Conversations with the Black Man, which was actually very good too, was sandwiched in between that series. But, sometimes I jump around. There's the Mistborn series. I did do a reread of the first Mistborn before I went into the others because it had been a while since I read it. Actor A.G. Brown was actually my favorite of Talia Hibbert's The Brown Sisters. Was it a trilogy? I think it was a trilogy. But this one was my favorite. I thought it was so good. The other two, I didn't always like the characters or plot, but that one, I liked all of it. It was really good. Pandora Hearts, which of course I talked about because I definitely think that more people should read Pandora Hearts and not just buy the excellent collection that's been released. Just if it's on your shelf and you haven't read it, make sure you read it. It goes to surprising places. Martha Wells's the Murderbot series is on there. Nakano Thrift Shop. This one is good, but I liked a lot of other like Japanese literature more than it. Magus of the Library, there it appears, Volume 1, 5 stars. Canticle for Leibowitz. I'm not sure why out of all of these they chose that one to highlight. But that was an interesting read. Very, very strange. Last year I did very much want to get into more science fiction, so that's one of the recommended science fiction reads. If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. Oh my goodness, I had an arc of this book. It's so cute. That is a cute read. I would recommend this one. If you want a very cute, upbeat romance, if you're, looking for something lighter, because maybe you've been reading a lot of heavy stuff like I do, that's a good one to kind of offset it and go for something lighter. This past year, Rainbow Rowell completed the Carry On series with Any Way the Wind Blows. And I liked it, okay? I liked it. I felt very kind of stuck with Wayward Son. Like, I liked it, but I wanted more of a conclusion. But of course, we got the third book instead of a conclusion for that one. So I was happy to have the third book. Oh, this one, excellent nonfiction. Cast The Origins of Our Discontents. So it compares the treatment of Black Americans here to the caste system in India. And yeah, there's just a lot of revelations and truth in this book, and I would highly recommend it, even if you're not usually a nonfiction reader. I think it lays things out very well, makes a lot of sense, and makes you think about perceptions and also treatment and our systemic issues that exist in the U.S. And I think even if you're not from the United States, it might be an interesting look to sort of understand what is happening here and what we're trying to deal with. And it is something that's difficult, but, hopefully with time and communication and just proper advancing forward, we'll make improvements. I really, really hope. The Golden Sheep, reviewed that one, great series. All of the Taylor Jenkins Reid books, especially that are companion works here. So Malibu Rising, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and Daisy Jones and the Six. I have enjoyed. My personal favorite is probably Daisy Jones and the Six, but I think the other ones are good too. I like band stories, so Daisy Jones was really just cool for me. Very much had like Fleetwood Mac documentary vibes. And Second First Impressions, there's a cute one just sandwiched in there. And Such a Fun Age was talked about a lot, and I read it. And that is a good book. Felix Ever After. I didn't talk about this one either, but Felix Ever After by Case and Callender. Fabulous book. Very emotional. I hope more people read it. This did win the Stonewall and Lambda Award. and rightfully so. It's great representation, very thought-provoking, just great. Show more books. Yeah, I wonder how far I am. Like, am I even halfway through the year? I don't know. It was a lot of books. Winter's Orbit. I loved that book. Definitely think other people should read it. I fell into that world and it was so good. I didn't get to talk about this series, but I finally finished this Prince of Thorns series. It's dark fantasy, very dark fantasy, but very compelling. And I'm glad that I finally was able to finish it because I read the first book years ago, and I think did I do a reread? I'm trying to remember. Is this the first one? I don't know if it'll tell me. I think this is the first one. I think I did a reread. But regardless, it was very good. Yeah, very dark. The Kingdom of Copper. Finally finished this trilogy as well, the Daevabad trilogy. A Touch of Darkness is the Hades and Persephone retelling that I was going to talk about because I was going to do like a Lore Olympus. Well, really maybe combine more than that. And maybe I will still in the future compare different storytellings of the Hades and Persephone myth. This one is very much like Lore Olympus, like a same kind of premise where like she ends up interning, I think, for Hades. Very modern. I don't know. It was all right for me. I didn't like, if I'm going to go for that kind of story, I would much prefer Lore Olympus. That's just my 2 cents. Pink, which I reviewed. So emotional. Yeah, some other books that I did talk about here. Yeah. Prince of Thorns was the first one. So I did do a reread of it. Because then here's Emperor of Thorns, which was the last book. Dear Justice was the second book. Dear Martin was the first. Just also great. Also great. The People We Meet on Vacation. Yay, I was finally able to read that one. Some of them I had to wait a while for because there were so many holds. Oh, here's the big Jujutsu Kaisen reading. I did get to read Casey McQuiston's One Last Stop. I was going to do a review of this book, and then I just never got the chance to. For the most part, I really liked this book. The only thing that bothered me, I was just kind of grossed out by sexy times on the subway, because subways are so gross. But beware, there is la sexy times on the subway, and I'm just like, y'all are gonna get like disease. Subway's dirty. I get why it had to be that way, because in case you don't know, this one is kind of stuck in the past, and she can see her, but I think she has to. Does she have to be on the train? Whatever. So it's a time issue, time conundrum-y story, and you know, subways and trains are dirty, y'all. Although I guess in part they're dirty because people are doing less sexy times on there. But in general, like, you think about the people that are like on there. Anyway, I was going to include that in my review, but then I just never had the time to review it. I would still recommend it. It's cute romance overall. Dial A for Aunties. I didn't get to review this one either, and I loved it so much. This is so cute. I think I'm at the summer now, so there should just be a few more months to get through. Yeah, because this was August. Hamnet, kind of a Shakespeare backstory. I like that one. The Good Sister, I think I waited almost all year to get this book. Like, it was on hold for so long at the library. Yep, and here we're moving into September for sure, because I was prepping for Scary Season, which is why you suddenly see Junji Ito, which I knew I wanted to review most of these. And this one I actually had be read for like a cover I didn't like. I don't know if this is the same cover though, but the cover I had for this was so ugly. I couldn't stand it at all. This one I randomly found on Hoopla, and I really liked this book. It is a book in translation, and it's, you know, more of a thriller, and it's very good. Kind of jumped forward on me a little. Again, more O Maidens in Your Savage Season. Would still, you know, recommend that to anybody. You will see a gap, like with more books in between when I finished number 7 to when I could finally read the final volume. There's Mashal, which I reviewed recently. I also really loved For the Wolf. There's my binging of Blue Period. And Deeper Waters was kind of a cute Little Mermaid-ish kind of story. I liked that one. Lisa Jewell, The Night She Disappeared. I love Lisa Jewell, so that's on there. And you'll see, like, here finally is volume 8, as I had waited for it to get to me. I Swear I Won't Bother You Again. I love that one. The Shadow in the Glass, which it was surprising to me in how much I did enjoy this and how dark it was. But so good. I am still slowly going through the Outlander series, so here's Voyager. Yeah, I love that series a lot, but I take my time to get through it, so hopefully this year I will get further towards catching up to it. I'm actually on hold for not the book after Voyager, but I'm trying to remember, is it book 5, I think? I will just quickly say, Realm Breaker here, I kind of gave a chance to because I had started reading the Red Queen series, and I didn't love the ending. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick up any more Victoria Aveyard books. But I gave it a try because other people had been, you know, reviewing it. I didn't love it. I mean, it was fine, but I didn't super love it. House of Hollow and Horrid. I kind of like those. See if there's any other ones I want to point out. There's All of Us Villains. If This Gets Out is super cute. Like, I couldn't, when I read that book, it's very visual. Like, I could very much imagine this being a movie or, you know, like a 1-season series, like special series on one of the streaming services, because it's very, very visual in that way. It's very cute. It's about a boy band, and one of the boys falls for one of the other ones, and then it's like, okay, are those feelings mutual? But then also, obviously, you say, it says if this gets out, so obviously it's, you know, do they have to keep it a secret, and what the repercussions were, you know, would be if it got out, because boy bands are often built on, you know, the illusion that their fans would be able to be with them. But it's super cute, fast read, very visual. Among the Beasts and Briars, I loved. Grimoire Noir. This is a graphic novel, and it's beautiful. And I wouldn't mind like more from this world. I don't know if there's anything else that I specifically want to talk about. Oh, I did get to read some Lisa Scottoline. That was the other thing I learned, because I got an audiobook and learned that this is Scottoline. When I look, I would just think Scottoline, but it's Scottoline. Survive the Night. For Your Own Good. This was kind of a twisty, like, dark academia. That was kind of fun. I like that one. I love Mix Up. Also good. Yeah. I know. You're looking at Given. You know I rated it high because I love that series. Let's move on. My Lovely Wife. Yeah, that was weird. That was weird and interesting. I did enjoy reading it. My Absolute Darling is such a dark, twisted read. But if you check out its description, and if you want to give it a try, go ahead. I mean, it is well written, but it is very dark and very twisted. We are finally getting to the end here, and I can tell because I noticed the seasonal reads pop up. There we go. Drums of Autumn is the final book that I read for Outlander for the year, so I'm on whatever's next. I'm on the list for, and I'm waiting for my hold to come in. The X-Hex, if you're wondering why that doesn't appear until like December, I was on hold for this and it didn't come in until after the Halloween season. I have a couple holiday books that are the same way that I think the setting is Christmas, but I'm not going to be able to read them until who knows when because they're still on hold. The Matzo Ball is super cute. It's about a romance writer, and she usually writes those Christmas romances like what we'd watch on like Hallmark or whatever. But this year, her I don't know if it's her publisher or her editor, whoever talks to her, they want her to do a different story, and in particular one that focuses on Hanukkah. She is Jewish, but she just has that obsession with kind of the magical feel of Christmas. So she doesn't know what's magical about Hanukkah, but she decides to attend this matzo ball, which pits singletons together, and yeah, hopefully you make a match. And it's super cute, super fun. If you don't want to read it until the seasonal setting, then you'll have to wait till next Hanukkah, but it's so good. Super cute. Here's to Us. I've already talked about it. We'll move on. Yeah, Attack on Titan, volume 34. Had to mark it as read. I don't know if there's any I want to point out. I will say, so I got to read this short story novella, If the Fates Allow. It's a companion to Fangirl, and centers around Reagan, but it's like during the pandemic. And I just found it's good, but I found it hard to read. Kind of reliving the difficulties of Christmas 2020, when everybody had a lot of anxiety. I know I myself, I couldn't celebrate with my whole family, which we usually do. We had to do it in like groups, like small groupings. And it was really difficult, but we were all trying to be as careful as we could be. I know I myself am still like limited because of my health issues. And I don't know, it was just hard, like kind of reliving that whole thing, but also, as I was reading it, it was more like where Omicron was starting to like explode everywhere, and we had no idea how different things were going to be. Like I don't know, it was hard because it was so unexpected. So yeah, I had a little bit of issues reading that. It was good though. I actually wouldn't have minded if not necessarily this novella, but if we did a whole companion book that is on like Reagan and the character that she interacts with in said short story novella. And that day I did these two together. So this is the short story, The Map of Tiny Perfect Things, which is a movie that's available on Amazon. And I did see both. Like I saw it and I read the book, if that makes sense. And that's why this is like the characters I don't think match the character descriptions in the book. But it's good. It's a quick read if you want to, give it a try. So I was reading, I wasn't really reading. I was on a quiz on Book Riot. And you would like check off books that you've read. Like it would ask you. And you would just check it off. I did receive that's pretty well read to me with the number of classics that I read. And then it listed the books that it had asked you about. And If Beale Street Could Talk was one of them. Which I had not read yet. But I have read other James Baldwin books, and I really like James Baldwin. So I checked the availability, and the book was available, so I checked it out and got right to it. And honestly, James Baldwin just has a way of writing that's just excellent. And now I can say that I've read it, but also it's just so good. These Hollow Vows, which I've talked about, and more Christmassy stuff. I will probably be doing a review of, The Fiancé of the Wizard at some point. I've just finished volume 1 recently, but I want to read a little bit more of it before I give my overall thoughts. I finished this one, The City Beautiful. This is historical fiction, and it's fabulous. It is fabulous. I think more people should read that one. And yeah, and look at this. I ended the year with Five Nights at Freddy's, Fazbear Frights, Volume 1, Into the Pit. Security Breach came out recently. I've played like Five Nights at Freddy's in the beginning, or attempted. I will say I attempted to play. I had purchased the first 4 games on my Kindle tablet way back in the day. I can now only access, I think, the first and third game. So for whatever reason, it's not available. Even though I had purchased it, it's not available on the current version of the Kindle. So I got back into it, back into the lore. I purchased the Switch version, which has all of the first 5. And then I'll probably be buying the digital copies of the other games. But yeah, I've been having fun with that and replaying Five Nights at Freddy's and getting back into the lore. So I decided, to give this a try. They're very quick reads. They're middle grade. But it's good. It's just enjoyable. And if you like the good spooks, I would definitely recommend this for middle grade readers who love the Goosebumps thing. I would say this one is really borderline between middle grade and teen. So if you're, you have people that are kind of in that in between, just make sure that they are okay with really severe horror topics where there's not a lot of happy endings. And if they are, then they should be able to read Fazbear Frights. And just to wrap it up, my last review of the year was for The City Beautiful. This book took me by surprise. It is wonderfully engaging, and I loved the blend of historical fiction, mystery, and the paranormal. And I did. That was a great book. And then it does have my reading challenge. So I set my goal for the reading challenge relatively low, 80 books, and I've done that for a couple of years where I set it lower and then I add 5 books per year. So for 2021, I was up to 80 books. Obviously, I've read well above that, but it's pretty good. And I did make sure to wait until it had all of my books on there because they send this out, I don't know, mid-December, I feel like. So I knew I was going to have a lot more books on there. And now it's complete, and I'm very happy. So there's my 2021 wrap up. So that's my year in books. That's the end of this. I look forward to seeing what 2022 is going to bring. Yeah, hopefully slightly less books. Although, you know, there's nothing wrong if it does end up being a lot again. Like, I'm fine with that. It's just, I look back and I'm like, oh, it kind of stresses me out a little bit. So that's it for this video. Until next time, bye.